You are listening to Food for Worms, the original True Grime podcast.
Food for worms.
Cool beans.
Yeah, there are beans in here sometimes.
There are beans?
Yeah, if you're getting there.
Like Arby's?
No, I don't have the meats anymore.
You don't have, what do you mean the meats?
Well, you've heard it before.
What?
Arby's. We've got the meats.
Is that their slogan?
You've eaten at Arby's before. You've seen an Arby's commercial.
Yeah, but I don't know.
What does that mean?
They've
got the meats.
It means that the company that has primarily been doling out roast beef sandwiches for most of their existence has the meats at all times.
But like, when you said it, it made me think of like, is that like some kind of condition or something? Like
meat sweats, yeah.
And I mean, that makes sense. Like that could be their ad campaign.
You've got the meat sweats.
You don't
well,
get
that would make more sense to me. Right? Like, what the fuck are the meats? I don't know what you mean.
They make
Arby's.
their bread and their meat butter off of the copious amounts of meats. So they got the chicken, they got the turkey, they got the ham, they got the chicken again.
I mean, Arby's beef and cheddar used to be my shit
It is the
before
shit.
I was vegan.
Yeah,
Probably still is really good.
they're so good with the horsey sauce.
absolutely not. I hate the fucking horsey sauce, man. It's gross.
Oh, you're gross.
No.
Horseradish?
Horseradish is
Fucking
gross.
good.
It's okay.
I miss horseradish sauce.
What is in horseradish? Can you
Isn't it like
Sam? Oh my God.
wasabi?
No, wasabi's it's a thing in itself. That's like the I don't want to talk out of place, but like I think it's like the Japanese equivalent to horseradish. Horseradish.
Talking out of place.
No,
I
but
don't want to talk out of place. Then he talks out of place. You're all good, buddy.
but no, horseradish is a plant that looks like rhubarb, and it could be like mistaken as it, but rhubarb stalks become red, and then that's when you clip them and throw them into pies and whatever. And then I've never clipped horseradish and tried to make horseradish out of it, but I know it just gets like big stalks that come out of the center and looks really ugly compared to rhubarb.
I always thought horseradish was like a sauce. I didn't know it was like an actual thing that you.
It is a
grow.
sauce,
Yeah.
but it comes from the plant of horseradish.
So then what's in the sauce?
Horseradish.
Fuck you. I mean,
I feel like mayo. It's like a mayo. It's like a creamy like.
Yeah, I bet that's like the base of it is probably some type of mayonnaise or some Ready Whip. Ready Whip. That's for cakes and pies, right?
Christ, I'm looking this up now. I need to.
I'm trying to like personally absolve myself of the fact that I mixed up wasabi and horseradish, but it is like kind of similar flavor profiles.
Yeah, and you get
okay.
And yeah. That's why I meant
That's good.
because like
Makes me feel better.
Well, and I said it's like the Japanese equivalent. I don't know where it comes from, but it like the only time I've ever had wasabi is with sushi. So like, and I'll just throw that shit on there. But you get that like sting,
Yeah.
or not sting, but like the tickle in your nose that
Yeah,
you can
man.
just.
I would say it's less of a
Yeah, dude.
tickle and more like you if you eat too much of it at one time, you regret everything up until in your life up until that point.
But I've been eating horseradish since I was like a little kid. Like my grandpa would throw it on literally anything, and he would just be like, "Sam, just throw this dab on there," and he put 5 times more than I probably should have had, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is good, Grandpa."
Sam, do you like spicy shit?
It depends on like I do like hot things and I like spicy things, but I want to be able to taste the actual thing that it's on.
Got
I
it.
don't understand the
Need to have it so hot.
Eating the hot just to have it be the fucking hot.
Yeah.
I want to taste a wing if I'm gonna eat a fucking wing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see the point in. I mean I love watching people do it, like the contests and shit of people eating the super hot ones. Or have you watched the show Hot Ones?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Excellent show. Yes.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
I will say that the motherfuckers that like to brag about getting like, oh, my stomach's a steel trap. No. It's like, all right, that's fine. Because me, like you said, I like to enjoy my fucking food. If there's going to be spice, there's going to be a little dab of spice that kind of adds to what I'm doing. But if this thing is so hot that it could literally burn a hole in your fucking stomach or ruin your stomach lining, then you're doing too much.
Right.
And I don't really care if you're bragging about it. It means nothing to me.
No, and I mean, like we've talked about in the past, like I'd rather have like an eating like amount wise competition than like a hot food. Like if it's gonna make me like have snot running out of my nose while I'm putting more in my mouth, fuck that. No.
Or see the future. No, that's what the people that they do. Like they got like the red in the face, their eyes turn fucking red, their hair starts falling out, and then they start getting premonitions of the future. Anyway, this has been welcome to Food for Worms.
Yeah, that's our podcast.
This is our podcast, everybody.
We're done now.
Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much. Sam, want to read us out? Anyway, my name's Darien.
My name is Sam.
Hi, and today we're sitting with the big homie, the designated shooter. I have this other list of things I want to throw out really quick too.
Vegan something, I'm sure.
Veganese.
Vegan.
Something about veganese.
We were talking about mayonnaise earlier, so I was thinking, I knew you were vegan, and I was like, veganese.
Anyway, we're kicking it with Norine. She is a renowned vegan superhero chef.
Chef.
More or less. Master of social work, licensed independent clinical social worker, and designated shooter in certain circles, and one of my best friends.
Hey.
What up, Git?
Fist bump.
Fist bump.
You know.
How you doing?
I'm chilling. How about you?
I'm also chilling. Thank you so much for the cookie and for the fucking iced tea with the lemonade in it that you kept in your car
Absolutely.
for 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really appreciated.
Well, and a podcast host. She's got-
I was getting to that part. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I got a lot of hands in a lot of things.
Yeah,
More than these two.
a lot of different pies.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Spinning a lot of plates right now.
Yeah. Also, Norine, God fucking damn it, is a co-host of the Intersectional podcast. It's a podcast featuring two badass women in the best state you'll ever try to live in, but you can't because it's fucking cold and horrible.
That's right.
You sound like my dad.
It is fucking cold and horrible, but it's character building. It's character building.
I feel, yeah.
Yeah.
I bought a fucking house here. So.
Yeah, and but that's also something I was talking to someone about that recently. I was like, yeah, I used to say that Minneapolis, Minnesota specifically, is like we lived here because it's character building. You stay here and you fucking grow here, and you can live here. You can live anywhere. That's mostly true, but but then I was like, yeah, but once you've been here for 30 some odd winters, you're like, I wonder what other places are like too.
Yeah, but it's like we also as Minnesotans will band together. Like, yes, the whole like Minnesota nice thing can be like a passive aggressive thing or whatever. But also like if I see someone stuck in the snow out in front of our weird little like turnaround thing here, I go push them out whenever I see them. And I think most people that are from Minnesota understand the fucking getting stuck in the snow. Like, I got to get these people out of here. And that's my good Samaritan deed for the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it's whenever I hear Minnesota nice, I think that first, but then I'm also aware of like our culture of being passive aggressive, which is a real thing, and I'm not gonna deny that. But it's also kind of like, why rock the boat if I don't have to? I don't. Sometimes people that you're being passive aggressive with, like, you don't fucking.
I'd rather rock the car and then someone else push it.
Yeah, right. How about you, sir? How do you feel about them? About our title?
Well, I grew up with a mom that when she would ask us to do something, she'd be like, "It would be nice if you did this."
Woof.
It would be nice.
No.
Yeah, and we still make fun of her for it to this day. And she's like, "Well, it would be nice," and I'm like, "Well."
Well, cool, mom. But and that's like at work, like people asking me, "Hey Sam, do you want to do this for me? Do I have an option not to?
Yeah.
No, I need you to do this.
Yeah.
You should have just said, "Hey Sam, take care of this."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I will say that in professional settings, when that is involved, it's usually for me when I do that, because even if it's like if there is a power dynamic where I am asking you to do something, but the power dynamic is I'm literally telling you to do something, but it's also like it's being mindful of what else they have going on. So this for me, it's always like if I'm asking, hey, can you do this really quick? It's being like, can you do this? But I'm asking also, do you have the bandwidth for it? Because I could be asking you to do something. You're like, yeah, I got this other project right now, so no.
With my job, everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like you're asking me. You probably asked 10 other people the same thing. Stop asking us if we can do this. Just tell us what you need us to get done.
For sure.
That is just like cut to the chase. Is that the saying? Right?
No, that's cut to the chase. I appreciate that too. I think that the whole asking someone to do thing, it depends on the dynamic.
Oh, for sure, Different environments
and the profession and everything. So it's like, hey, can you do this? Like I'm at First Avenue, I was like, hey, can someone need you to clean up the vomit, please?
I think that like growing up, that was something that I had to adjust to is people that were more direct or maybe not. They don't subscribe to the whole passive aggression sort of culture that kind of perpetuates itself here, is that when people were more direct with me when I was growing up, I got offended, and that's not. I would be a little bit intimidated by them. But now as I've gotten older, as I was saying, I've gotten used to that, and I've actually adapted that because I feel like saying things in less words is just helpful to everybody. Yeah. Also, as a social worker, I had to work on my communication skills and be able to speak to different cultures and people from different religious backgrounds and what have you, different genders, and that training really gave me a lot in the way of learning how to communicate with different people. Yeah. Not to say that like each culture, like nobody's a monolith for any one culture. So like a Black and or African American person, they are not their whole culture does not speak the way that they do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But by and large, like there are different. I live in a primarily BIPOC neighborhood over North Minneapolis, and they communicate differently. Everybody in my neighborhood communicates differently. It's more direct. It's how you doing, and they're always greeting you, and if you don't greet them, it's kind of rude. So
well, and I've like, I don't know, that was always just instilled in me with manners. Just like you say hi to somebody, even if they just give you the head nod, give them the nod back, and then like if you're walking in the same door, hold the door if you go in first. Like I just feel like certain things like that, it's just like out of respect, like
absolutely.
And like beating around the bush, I feel like, because you're talking about being more direct, just so that you can get your point across quicker. Like beating around the bush or being passive aggressive or whatever makes, I don't know if it like defines what you mean to the person you're speaking to. They're like, what do you really need from me? Like, are you just talking to me this way? Like, I don't know. There could be like a backstory behind your passive aggressiveness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the way that people also receive therapy. So as a therapist, people who are BIPOC generally don't have a white way of communicating and thinking about things. Talk therapy generally doesn't work for them. It's more like, what do I need to do to get healthy? I want to know the things, all the steps is what I'm gathering from my experiences. Also Native American individuals, they like to do a lot of storytelling. So the way that they do their therapy, it's like they're very connected with their ancestors. I have a client that's like this, and they are always storytelling, and that's how they do their healing, is through the storytelling. And it's very long-winded, and sometimes like I lose names of people and stuff, and that's just me in general. But that's how they do it, and that's how they do their healing. So it's very interesting. I've learned a lot having my own therapy side hustle for like not even like half a year.
Yeah, you've been killing it though.
Yeah,
I remember you when you were just talking about it, and then I say, "Oh yeah, that's happening." I was like, "Hey, hey.
I did it.
You did.
I did it."
Well, I think with going to therapy, I've learned to be more direct, because like when I was a kid, like my parents both talked to me in different ways, and one was very like we've talked about this before, like telling me how they felt, all the time, to just let me know so that I'm on the same page as, my mom. Whereas my dad can be a little bit more sarcastic, like myself, but also just maybe not when it needs to be. Like when maybe, hey, be direct and tell me how you actually feel. And like, maybe we'll be actually a little bit more productive. But then going into therapy, it's just like, it made it easier for me to be direct, because it's like, telling someone how your feelings are, it's kind of hard to beat around the bush when it comes to like your abstract feelings and just dealing with everyday life, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, Yeah.
With me, I always have to. I'm the king of asides. Like as I'm telling stories, or as I'm like I do on this fucking podcast, but
yeah.
Well, I'm the king of asides because I think context is important, and even if you don't know the person that I'm talking about, or the situation, or have any real clue what the fuck the real situation is, besides me like sharing like a part of it, it's important for me that the context and the person and the situation, the nuances of it that I can disclose, is heard. Right. So that when I do get to hopefully the fucking bitter end of my long-winded story that's had 6 or 7 asides, the asides have painted a picture of the thing that I'm talking, situation I'm talking about, or just the moment I'm talking about, and that I was heard.
Right.
So for me, it's like, and I have a hard time being long-winded when I could just also be just fucking direct, be like this and that and this and that. And even in my professional life, like I have to work on using less words, just saying less. But when I'm also dealing with like 40 different people coming in from 12 different places, and they all need the same information, it is so important that everything is said that can be said for whatever the fucking thing is that I'm talking about. But then I have some people like, you say too much. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't have the same fucking resources sometimes, and I have to, and then I don't get to just put it all in an app and then be like, here you go. It's like, no, like this is an email.
Right.
This is an email with sections, and everything about it matters. So yeah, but yeah, that bleeds over into me talking in real life, where I'm kind of like, I probably could have just said a sentence or two
like
some shit.
When it comes to like talking about like personal things, D, like you're definitely a little bit more private than myself. I don't know about Sarah, but like you, and I'm not trying to tell you how you are, but you, like, if you're going to talk to somebody about personal shit, it's someone that knows you and someone that's close to you. Yeah. So it's like they get where you're coming from when you are talking. So even if you get long-winded, you do an aside, you're like I talk to you all the fucking time, you know, even without the podcast, like we've talked forever, you know? So it's like, if you're talking to that close person, they just get where you're coming from.
I have both those kind of conversations with both of you, like both, honestly, me right here with you, and then you with you on your couch with it. Okay. Also, it was your dog's birthday recently, and here's the kicker. I lived with an Ella at one point, and and almost every time that I've been like, oh, how's Ella doing? And then as soon as I say it, like, it's Bella. So happy birthday, Bella.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, she turned 12.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Her old stinky ass. I'm sorry.
She is so energetic. She got on some new food. My dog is vegan too, so don't judge me. But my dog is vegan, and she is just like, she shits all the time, and that's a good thing. Like, people load up their dogs with like protein pack stuff, and I'm not saying that like don't feed your dog meat stuff. I mean, whatever works for their stomach. Bella did better on vegan food in general.
Is that why you became vegan? Was because of your dog?
Because she started it.
They eat the same food, and it's all out of the same bag.
It's mostly celery at this point.
You get a cup, I get two.
No, but Darien, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about your kind of how you do sides, because I think I'm the same way, but I appreciate that about you, because I think I do the same thing. Yeah. I mean, there's so much, like, you have to understand so much about this one situation in my mind to understand the point that I'm getting to, and it takes me a while to get there.
No, it's a winding road, but it's like, especially if you're talking with somebody that you care about and that you can also hold space for, and they hold space for you. It's like, no, like, let's go on a journey. Right. This journey has an end point, but we're going to stop a few places. And hopefully, if you have 20 minutes, because it's going to take 30, we're going to get there.
Well, but if you're talking to that person, it's someone close to you, and they're making the time to hear you out. So it's like, who gives a fuck how long the conversation or how long it takes to get where you're going? Yeah. Like Brooke will tell, like, she's such an amazing storyteller, and she does the asides as well, and tells you things that maybe weren't relevant to the story, but it's like, I'm happy I heard that part of the story, even though it's not directly related. Yeah. But it's like, cool, that was like a small little aside. Yeah. Yeah.
Little mini anecdote.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little injection into the long-winded.
Can I just say and insert like how big a super fan of this podcast I am?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, because I am. I am like when Darien said he was going to be in a podcast, and I think he showed me he made me listen to he had me listen to
I sat you down. It got real weird. I was like, you can either sit down or I can just play it on all of your stuff until
listen to this intro music. Yes. Yeah. And I was just like, this is the best intro music. I don't know who the fuck picked it, but it's fantastic. It's so good. And I mean, I play violin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So okay. I was all about it. I loved it. And that's pizzicato violin. It's great.
Well, and it's like the reason that intro stood out for me is because it's that if you never listened to our podcast but you knew Darien and I, that wouldn't be our intro
Even
music
kind
that
of.
you would think
Not
of.
even kind
But
of,
it
yeah.
fits it because it's so out of place, and then just brings you into the show, and then it's like, oh, this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
And I love that starts the dynamic off for a different
Like the
expectation of what you're getting into.
Juxtaposition of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You're coming like,
I get it.
I was like, mother. Oh, you piece of fucking shit, Zencaster. Oh my god. Yeah.
Are you like going to some? I don't know what you did last episode, but you like went into some weird.
Singing.
You started with a song, and it was
Dun,
nice and
dun,
light,
dun,
and then all of a
dun.
sudden you got really metal. I was listening to it. I was like, yeah.
Well, and wasn't it? I thought you were saying buds, and you were like, no, it's butts.
Yeah. I have a hard time enunciating sometimes, but when I know I enunciate it and you still didn't hear me, I'm like, no, I know what I said. I know what I said, Sam. And then it's whatever. So.
Well, that makes me happy that that you're enjoying the show, and I mean, people say it, and it's weird to like hear, but it sounds like you listen all the time, and I appreciate it.
I support anything that. I mean, I just got to know you, so don't feel bad about this.
You're
but
fine.
anything that he does, I'm pretty much like.
Sarah
on board.
shows up for everything.
Yeah, for
the
him,
homie.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been to your Wage Future show, but the one thing that I was trying to get to was
Ooh, the aside happened.
Yeah, the aside happened.
You love
was
to see
that
it.
I love the episode with your spouse.
Uh-huh.
She seems fantastic. She seems like my kind of girl. The other one that I really enjoy, I've enjoyed all of your guests, but I loved Ammo as well. They are like, I was driving like to Wisconsin. I'm dating a guy who lives in Green Bay, and I was driving to Wisconsin listening to that fucking episode, and there were so many aha moments. And they've never been my tattoo artist, but Katie K at the same tattoo place, it has been mine.
Shout out Jack.
And it makes me wish that I got to know them better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're around.
Well, no, you have some quality guests.
Well, thank you.
Really great
Thank you.
things
And
to
guess what?
say.
Now you're one of them.
Yeah, you're on the show right now.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Sam. Appreciate shit out of that.
Like, there's not one shitty guest yet. Is what I guess.
Yeah, we pick and choose
Well,
them.
we're working on it. You can't come in and cancel us without giving us a second chance.
Maybe I'll be the first shithead. Maybe I'll fuck it up for everyone.
Yeah, Sarah comes on. It's like, I like to talk about
Butts.
Everyone should get rid of their butts. And then all of a sudden, the butt enthusiasts are like, why would you say that? And with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Here's a word from the butt enthusiasts.
Keep going. Food Performance Podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sam, you've been to therapy, right?
Yeah, it always helps my brain and my heart to get the weird, sad, scary stuff off my chest.
Yeah, man, the case of the sads comes at you fast, but yeah, without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace in this day and age is just hard. It truly is.
Well, and I mean, who wants to go to an office where you have to be by like a real life human?
Absolutely not. No, not in this meat body, sir. No, I'm not doing that.
Well, and then like the recycled air, just that you both have to breathe in each other's faces.
To validate your parking and talk to Janice outside. No, thank you. To avoid that nightmare fuel, BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, or live chat sessions with a licensed therapist. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy and can start communicating with a therapist in under 48 hours. That's nice, right?
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
rad.
This
Super rad.
podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Food for Worms listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/foodforworms.
Goddamn right.
That's betterhelp.com/foodforworms.
So what actually happened to that coffee drink that I left you last week? You said you weren't home all day, so I'm assuming you never got to it.
I didn't get it until
Yeah.
I came home late at night, and I was like, what the fuck is it? Oh.
No, that's my bad.
What kind of coffee drink? Was it an iced one where it would taste all watered down?
No, it was a hot
After-
one. It was
Oh,
a hot
okay.
coffee. Here's one of the amazing things about Sarah and our friendship. Sarah will randomly throughout the week, 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, drop off a coffee from Spy House at my door.
It's not random. It's every Friday.
It's every Friday.
It's every fucking Friday. But continue.
I lose track of time often. Like some days I'm like, oh, today's Wednesday. Great. Today's Thursday. Fuck. But yeah. Sarah drops off coffee at my house every Friday.
And do you drink it all the time? Or
Yeah,
okay.
but there's been a few times where Sarah will like drop off at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I get up at 10. So I go upstairs. I'm like it'll be like a little coffee emoji on my phone. I'm like tight, and I roll downstairs and I'm like lukewarm. Friendship is tight, and I just go upstairs and warm it up and start my day.
Because he drinks fucking Folgers.
Okay,
let's get on that.
Wow,
because you gotta start finding some beans, and I'll get you a grinder, and you can grind up your own beans.
Here we go.
And it tastes fucking great. And then you gotta do a French press. Brooke and I strictly only drink a French press. Do you know how to use one?
Do you feel attacked?
Fuck both of you.
I mean, I didn't know that all you're drinking is Folgers, dude. No wonder she's bringing you drinks on every Friday.
Just
I mean,
so
it makes
he can,
perfect sense.
A little bit of heaven.
Yeah.
A little bit of,
Norine, and I've said I've said your government name a few times, so I do apologize. And Sam will hopefully do his best to him out for a second. I don't know why you come on this platform and tell these felonious lies about the coffee that I drink. I have never drank Folgers voluntarily as an adult, ever.
Really?
Okay,
Oh, no, that's
what
a lie,
the shit were you? I swear it came out of a Folgers can.
It did not.
The last time that I was, okay.
What's the
Okay, okay.
What are you doing? I do not drink Folgers. That's never been a thing. And
what do you drink then?
I drink.
You're a Keurig guy, aren't you?
Absolutely not. My mom is a Keurig guy.
It's a drip brew, bullshitty. Continue. What?
I love it because she gives you shit just like I do.
Yeah,
and I don't see people come in here and do that. And it makes me so happy.
And I'm trying to be like, how bad do I want to go in on Sarah right now? It's like, how about this? You are a guest, so I'm going to.
Oh, you can go off, dude. I think it's out there now.
10. I'm gonna do a healthy 7. Okay. I drink dogwood coffee and fucking intelligentsia, whatever I can get from the grocery store that is possibly on sale. But I don't drink fucking Folgers. And
what's the one in the blue can?
Maxwell House.
Yeah.
Oh, I get down
Is
to
it
Maxwell
Maxwell?
House. I drink some fucking Maxwell House like a motherfucker. No, I do have a Maxwell House. I take the Maxwell House and then I put it inside the little pour over thing you got for me, and then I drink that, and the whole time I'm drinking it. I'm like,
so you've used that?
I use it often. Thank you so much for that. But when I use it to make Maxwell House. And then when I do it, I curse your name the whole time. I'm like, this one goes out to all my dead homies.
So Max, do you use this Maxwell House like when you put keef on the top of a pipe?
Yeah, it's
so
terrible.
Just to like top it.
Yeah, and when I make coffee for the people, I don't tell them that I put the Maxwell House on top. So it just kind of freaks them out. I'm like, why does this taste like...
They take a big ass sip and they're like, "Whoa,
what the fuck is this? It tastes like garbage and it tastes really good." Oh, I do. Fuck both of you. Those are the worst. And
I'm sorry, dear.
No, don't apologize. I love that you were able to find the one thing for me to be like, I don't know why I'm being attacked enough on my total. I don't drink that. What are you talking about? So. Yeah.
Maxwell House is kind of the same.
I think so.
Thing,
I don't drink Maxwell House either.
Well, what the
like I was.
You're talking about
you're
like telling lies, and
and
you just went into a big ass story about putting the keef on the bowl, and that's just my metaphor for it now.
There's no recovery for this. I don't drink fucking Maxwell House. I do my best to drink good coffee and also coffee sometimes is just coffee, and if I have to drink Maxwell House or fucking Folgers, I will because it's there. I'm not above any of those things. But if I have a choice to buy the coffee, and I do, because I'm an adult, thank you, as I look both of you in the fucking eyes, it's whatever. So thank you.
I try to buy local and from like local spots that are roasting their own beans, just because like most of them are at like co-ops and like. You can bring a jar and not waste a bag, which is always like a bonus for me. I feel like I'm doing a little bit better as a human. And then it's just got my beans and I seal it up in the fucking jar and it's like fresher longer.
It's just like the one thing that I'm nerdy about, like to be honest.
Really?
So, and then you had me over. Yeah, the one. Okay, like the one thing that I'm like if I could grow my own coffee tree out here in Minnesota, and maybe I will someday, I would do that and then like harvest the beans and then make myself a cup of coffee. That's how nerdy I am. And I get into like all the roasts and shit. And I don't know what you were drinking that one time. I mean...
is this when you came over for like donuts and shit?
I don't know.
So, all right, wait. So what's happening now is that retroactively you're telling me that the coffee that I served you was bad.
No, it was just
bad.
the stuff that I drink.
It was bad.
Okay, is the shit that I made you at my house better?
Yes.
Okay.
And at the time, I don't know what I served you, but it wasn't fucking Folgers.
Okay.
It might have been like the ass end of whatever it had.
Folgers-esque.
It wasn't Folgers-esque. It was something. Here's the thing, and I also got yelled at about this recently. I sometimes, when I'm running low on the coffee, and I only stick to like the pour over. Thank you again for giving me that. Or like a French press. I make just enough for like a glass. I will stretch my shit out until I need to go to the grocery store again, because I don't like going to the grocery store for just one thing. If I go there, I'm gonna roll in here. I'm getting my almond milk. I'm getting my fucking bread. No. I'm sorry that I gave you subpar coffee. I just really am, and that it's somehow circled back and haunting me on this platform.
Dude, as long as you put Maxwell House on it, I'm
fuck
good.
You.
Sprinkle that a little bit over the top, and we're fucking golden, man.
I love you, Darien.
I'm perfectly fine.
I want you. Okay.
No, say it, please.
Well, okay, so you drink French press, which I feel like is like
I do.
That's comparable. Like,
either that or like a cold press, which is the same
so
thing.
that's
but
why I gave you that
refrigerated.
pour over thing, because I feel like that is a little like something happens different than just like maybe it's the drip brew that I really have a problem with. Like maybe that's it. Maybe I just need to work on myself a little bit.
Is that what I served you? It wasn't French press.
No, it was drip brew.
Yeah.
And no, it was fine. It tasted fine. I was just
apparently
like,
it didn't, and that's fine.
I like it when people can have really, really nice things.
Mm-hmm. It does taste a little different when it comes out of a drip brew. I fully agree.
So like maybe it's just that then.
Brooke and I, since we've lived together, I don't know if we've ever had a drip like coffee maker, and it's not because we're all like hoity-toity whatever. Brooke has always just been like, throw it in the fucking kettle, pour the hot water over your fucking shit, and then it just, I don't know, it's always tasted good. So
it tastes great. Sometimes it's about just time though, like because I will fuck around and forget that I boiled water and I ground the fucking beans 30 minutes ago as I'm doing my other shit, while with the fucking drip room's kind of like water, grounds. Shit, I forgot to put the filter in, pour it out, start over. Oh God, I made a mess. This has happened to me before. And then then I make the drip. Then I go and do what I'm doing, come back. Oh my God, it's done. Then when it's done, I pull out the fucking grounds, hawk that shit into my neighbor's yard, because fuck them. And then I don't.
Like out the window?
Yeah, right to the yard.
You should keep it for us and put it in our compost. So that's
go.
That's what we've been doing. We keep all of our coffee grounds and put it into our compost bin. So we've been saving up everything. I found a compost bin down the street and I rolled it back on my skateboard. And because someone was just throwing it away and put it in their front yard.
I was about to say, like, you just grab somebody's compost.
Yeah. I used their pitchfork and just put it in a pile in their yard and then grabbed the fucking thing and wheel it home. No, I found the thing on the sidewalk and I was like, I could build this pretty dang easily, but if it's already put together with the chicken wire and everything, I'll go toss it in the corner of my yard. Why not?
Do you need another one? Because I actually have one in my house.
A compost bin?
Less of a bin, more like a thing you put it all inside. You can then stab it and then flip it, like you just said.
Oh no, I'm fine.
Oh, okay,
I'm good.
Well,
I'm perfectly great. But thanks for thinking of me.
I just thought of you, so don't give me too much credit about it.
Okay, fuck off then.
Sorry, I mean, sorry. The Maxwell, the Folgers. Yeah, you started it. The dynamics changed, Sarah. You did this.
So legit, like one of his friends yelled at me for being mean to him in a bar once.
What?
And, you remember this? We were at the we were at the 3-3 round right before COVID happened, and I was having some tequilas, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me having two brothers that always fucking picked on me. He says one thing that's a little jabby, and I just go for the jugular, and I keep going.
Well, and he's a big brother, and you're a younger sister, so that's the dynamic. I could see it.
Oh no, I'm actually the oldest.
You're the oldest, but they pick on you.
We're both the oldest.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Once like they got bigger than me at like age 10 and got to beat me up and stuff, it was over. Like game over. But I still had a mouth on me.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were talking shit and then somebody was like snapped at you for being
mean? One of your friends, you're being really mean to him, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's really funny because like, if they know, I was like, oh no, that's Sarah. Sarah can say whatever she wants to me. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well, and you can definitely dish it back if you had to. Like you'll throw it back if you got it.
I'll look at somebody and be like, I do like a whole analysis. I just look somebody up and down. I'm like, all right. I can either be mean now or I can be mean later. I'll be mean later. It'll sting more when they think that like I was saved that, put in my little pocket and be like, I'm going to throw this at you when you least expect it. You're gonna have a good day too. I'm gonna fuck your shit up. This is great. Anyway, I'm a bad friend.
No, you're a good friend.
I try.
You got me a big ass beer.
Yeah. Oh, so Sarah's been drinking, so it's fucking. Excuse me, Norine. Fuck.
No, it's fine.
No, you specifically said you wanted your code name, and I've just been
People
fucking...
online, they know me as Sarah Norine. They know me as Norine, and they know me as Sarah. I just would request that you don't say my last name.
Ever.
Because then people at the government can
come looking for you.
find me.
Oh man, that's so smart.
Yeah, if you don't put it out there.
I just put my full ass shit out there to the world.
Yeah,
always.
Do you want to start changing that stuff?
Yeah, I'll just go as Sam Dave.
I hate that.
Do you? I like it because my name is Sam David, and the group. I love the group Sam and Dave. Mm-hmm. So I just thought.
Okay, how about this? I don't hate it, but it would be like, it was my friend Sam Dave.
I mean, my buddy Sam Gates always calls me Sam Dave, and he's the only, like, some people have said it before, but he's the only one that's like, he's been calling me that for years, and I like it because I think if I were a hillbilly, that would be my hillbilly name, Sam Dave.
Hey, speaking of hillbillies, there was this dude in my high school named Zachary Zach.
His name was Zachary Zach.
Is that his middle name or his last name?
His last name.
Zach.
It was great.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, hey, everybody's like, what's your last name? Zach.
But does he go as Zachary?
He's calling Zach. It was
Zach.
weird.
That's a great name.
Cute.
He was a fucking...
But his parents made it special. They gave him 2 different spellings of Zach.
Yeah.
So is your first name Sam or is it Samuel?
Samuel, but I've gone as Sam to everybody forever. Besides, like, you know, when you make an appointment somewhere or it's a teacher or whatever. But
whatever you have set up on your iMessage shit for your stuff on your end, when it comes about my side, I'm like trying to look up Sam Sarver, and it never comes up right away. I'm like, it's like Sam David. Who the fuck is Samuel David? And I have to be like, oh yeah, that's me. Sorry guys, I hate my middle name. I've always fucking hated David. Well, we're all here now, and we now have a better understanding of each other. This is great. Sorry for me.
For what?
You know.
What is your middle name? You're not going to tell me on the air. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I brought it up, so you probably would have, too.
I'll talk about it.
Oh,
at some
I'm
point.
bothered that I don't know your middle name. I really don't know it.
Hey, what if I told you I have 2 middle names?
I could believe that.
Yeah.
For real?
I do. It's fucking great.
So you have 4 names?
Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, my mom. My mom, me and my sisters, we all have 2 middle names, and we're all named after a friend and then after a family member.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Really nice. Yeah,
I love that.
Well, it was really funny. I didn't realize that like both my sisters had 2 middle names until I got older.
You thought you were the only one?
Yeah, because my mom, she would yell. She should be like, when she yells it, she would say your first name and your first middle name together. Mm-hmm. So when she did that with my sisters, I was always like, yeah, Kendall Marie. Yeah, there are a lot of things, man, you learn about your sisters later on that you just...
Well, and your parents, like you were telling me last week, and I've been trying to like picture this, but like you were telling me that your mom used to just buy you like shit tons of jerseys, and that was like the wardrobe that your mom wanted you to have, and we were like reminiscing about that last week.
Yeah, we were.
The wardrobe that your parents think you should have,
yeah.
and then what you want to wear.
Yeah, so for that one, and I guess that's the kind of that is where this topic kind of came from. Thank you very much, Sam.
Right.
And it wasn't so much she bought me jerseys. It wasn't just my mom either. It was like the kind of the parental units in my house.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I always got the most roadblocks on growing up were like my freedom, like my expression, how I wanted to express myself, and how I wanted to express myself. And that was like, I wanted so fucking bad to be goth, man. Y'all have no fucking idea. I was like, that just seems so fucking cool. They just seem like everybody wants to leave them the fuck alone. Like just, and I want to be left alone more than anything.
You were pretty borderline of that.
Yeah, as I got older, but leading up to that shit, I was like fighting for every fucking scrap of anything subversive. I just was, and one of the things I was talking about with you specifically was like one of the few things I ever got from my stepfather, who I have his last name, and he's not actually my birth father, whatever. But he paid child support, but he didn't really offer, besides come and visit. I talked to him sometimes on the phone, but I never saw a fucking dime from that dude. So I was like, whatever. And one of the few times, like in 8th grade, where he actually gave my mom money specifically for me, she was like, I was like, hey, can I get that money? I was like, he was like, no, I got some for you. was like, yeah, but where's the money? Because it's like, I'm 8th grade. I just want to go to the fucking mall. I want to figure this shit the fuck out, right? So I'm just like, fucking, let's fucking go. I have this idea in my head of what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to go to fucking Hot Topic. I'm going to fucking be like, I'm going to get everything. Bob Marley t-shirts.
Invader Zim
t-shirts. I'm going to get a fucking spike necklace. Yeah. I don't care. With having a fucking afro would have been wild. And then at one point, this is the middle of the summer, and I think like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 just finally came out. So I was just like, it was a Dead Man's Chest. I was like, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. And before my mom brought me to it, I was sitting there, and she was like, hey, so I got you a present. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got this from the money your dad sent. I was like, oh, okay. And she fucking pulls out, and it's like these. And again, I've always been very grateful for my mom. Always kept a fucking roof over our heads.
Oh, hell yeah.
Never went hungry.
But I think every
most of the time I was at cable.
Like going into this, I said like every parent doesn't get their kid's style. You know, like it's not just you.
And even me, like I was just happy with just like a fucking black t-shirt and some fucking pants. But my family was very much like, she's like, you gotta wear the South Pole. You gotta get the big puffy jacket so you're warm. So, but it's the newest fashion. I was like, I don't give a fuck about any of that. But so my mom, she got me like this red, white, and blue basketball jersey that had like matching shorts and fucking and the jersey top, and then this fucking emerald green and yellow and white star jersey as well.
Jeez.
For absolutely like with no team shit on, just a super nice gaudy fucking just not, it didn't have sequin on it, but it was like some fucking fully flashy shit all over it. And I was what the fuck is this? I was like, why? He's like, you don't like it? I was like, no.
I've been trying to picture you in that ever since you mentioned it, because I've never, like, since I've known you, that's never been a part of your style whatsoever.
Not even kind of, but there were times, and even to this day, where I do experiment with my different little styles. So sometimes it'll be a little bit more. I'll just do something that's a little bit more contemporary, but then mostly I just want to wear a t-shirt, hoodie, and some joggers and shoes, right. And I keep it fucking moving. But even in 8th grade, I just wanted to I just want to do something subversive. I wasn't trying to fucking gigantic fucking spiked hair. I wasn't trying to do. I just want to be like, I just want to wear black, and I want something with a skull on it. I don't fucking care. And when I realized that, you can just wear a fucking black t-shirt and be done with it. Cheap as hell.
Well, that's the time when you're trying to
you're trying the most.
Right. You're really trying to put yourself and be different from other people to stand out.
But that was one of the things. And then like there are the situations with like my sister's dad, where like we go out and buy clothes and everything, and I'm like, homie, I go to fucking Hot Topic. It's right there. Like, it's right there. You're going to spend a quarter of what you're going to spend over here at fucking Foot Locker. Like, right. You have no idea how fucking affordable I can be if y'all just give me a fucking chance, all right? And he'd be like, go on there, like, oh, this devil store? I'm like, no! Sir, that's Invader Zim. That's a Happy Tree Friends or whatever. Yeah. Yes. Is that cartoon character cut in half with a fucking cleaver? Yes. Am I in 8th grade? Also, yes.
My dad's a golfer, so we like later on in my life when he met my stepmom, we moved to a golf course, and he always wanted me. That was the style I think they wanted me to have, was the polo with the khaki shorts and whatever. Yeah. Definitely not me, unless it's like a polo with a big hole in it or something. Like that's more me. Like just dirty it up a little bit. Yeah. but he would do that, and my mom was just like, yeah, whatever you want to look like. And I think also the bonus was that it would like upset my dad or something. Yeah. I don't know if that's what the goal was, but she was always down to just like however I looked. Like she never hated on my plugs, my plugs in my ears, and loves my tattoos. That's me as an adult. But like as I'm a kid, she's down to buy me whatever t-shirt from Hot Topic, and she would be in there being like, oh, this is cool. And I'm like, Mom, I don't know if you really think that, but I think you're trying to be the cool mom in Hot Topic. And we're talking Hot Topic when it was like the dark ass room that parents were afraid to go in with their kids. And my mom's like, Sam, do you want one of these like cool rings they have in the box here? What about these patches? And I'm like, I've never heard of that, Mom, but I'm stoked that you're down to just look at this random bullshit at Hot Topic. So I was like very grateful that she was down to explore my whatever fucking weird shit I was into. Yeah. So I was always appreciative of that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can tell that I'm a therapist because I love listening. Yep, yeah, I'm just listening, taking it in.
I hear you being like,
well, yeah, that's what I do all day long. I'm not. So, well, you can see from the dress that I'm wearing, this is something that my grandma made, and my grandma's been long gone for she died in 2007. And I just got this dress for my mom because my aunt decided she didn't want it, so she gave it to my mom. And she gave it to me not even like a couple months ago. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll take this. But catch me dead in this in like high school. Like I would not have worn this shit. Yeah. And so grandma was constantly making me stuff like this because she loved to sew. And now, like in retrospect, I'm like, ugh, I was like too cool for that shit.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I think I was in the popular crowd until probably I realized it was bullshit in like 10th grade. And then I started hanging out with like the people who shop at Ragstock. Yeah. Right. So your hot topic was my Ragstock. Yeah.
Well, so, I was definitely like Ragstock and then any thrift store. Yep. Like I was always a secondhand kid. So like any cool random t-shirt, like my favorite t-shirt that I lost as a kid was this, it was like a Catholic church camp. And it was like kids holding each other's hands, and they're like, I care about you, and that's all it said on the shirt was I care about you, and I think it was Camp Care About You or something like that. Which now that's just a random ass T-shirt, but it was bright yellow, and I'm wearing it at 13, and I just liked it because people would be like, "What the fuck is that, Sam?" And I'd be like,
"Finish your thought. What were you saying?"
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that was it.
Oh,
okay. I really like that dress because really nice dress. My mom.
Busy.
Well, and like you're saying you're a therapist, so you probably have some type of attire that you have to like go by, right? I mean, do you have to wear? Is there a dress code? I guess is what I'm saying.
So I that's my side hustle.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, and so and we're only doing online right now, just because that's what everybody, by and large, is comfortable with. So they only see me from here up. Like,
you could zoom in with no pants.
Catch me wearing sweatpants on the bottom. Yeah. I mean, even if my clients hear this, they probably already know it. And then, I don't know, like a sweater. Right. Or a t-shirt or whatever. It's really casual. And the thing with that job and also the job I do at the county is that social work is not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be like showing up in suits, because that's not relatable to clients that you're working with in the community. So that's kind of something that I learned way back in the day, is that people are going to feel a certain way if you show up looking like that.
And I really respect that. My mom was a social worker for almost 40 years in the hometown. So I respect anybody that does what you do.
Oh, thanks.
Because it's a very difficult job, but it can be very rewarding and also stressful at times. But just anybody working with, people, trying to help people, I think it's just fucking great.
Yeah, and people are so dynamic and strange and awesome, and especially now, like this last year has just been kind of a crapshoot for people and where they are in their lives. Like, I know people whose lives have done a complete 180 from last year, and the year prior. Yeah. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. And even starting like the private practice this last year, that's completely changed too. The way that I do things now did not look like they did when I started it late last year.
Well, and like with starting that side hustle of being like a therapist, and you're doing like the videos with clients and whatever, like did you grow up with that being a part of your like upbringing? Like were you into therapy when you were a kid? Did that spark an interest? I'm a little ashamed to say this, but I don't know I had the self-awareness to realize that I probably needed it. Okay. But I have gone to therapy. Right.
On and off since probably my early 20s, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, like, parents are going to traumatize you. It's kind of something that happens. I mean, it's going to happen. Like, sometimes parents are toxic and they traumatize children. And it's something that's mostly unavoidable, at least in my line of work. That's what I've realized. So you can minimize it and learn about yourself, and maybe before you have kids. But even then, it's...
And that's like where, because I was in therapy a lot as a young kid, and like through high school and stuff, and then through my 20s, my therapy was kind of like getting drunk and partying, and then like prior to thinking about having kids is when I dove back into therapy, and like you learn, because like you were saying, like a lot of your shit that you have to unpack does come from your parents, and then but if you're thinking about becoming a parent, you're like, okay, they were human. So it's easier to kind of like let go of certain things, because as adults, we're just like, yep, they tried, they did what they could. Yeah. This is still fucked up and I'm bummed about it. Yeah. But like, there's those things that stick out. But for the most part, it's like, we're all human trying to do our best. And if you're still fucking alive, like you both are great humans. So it's like, well, but like our parents did all right by us, you know, that's what I'm trying to say.
Or they tried to do right.
Or tried to do right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Regardless of any toxic behavior they modeled to me growing up in their marriage. I mean, they're still married and they're doing really well. They're happy and retired and loving life. But they, I mean, regardless of any of the shit that they kind of bestowed on me as a child and how I took it's also how I took it.
Yeah.
My own personal way of, because I think that to say that they had that much power over me robs me of my own agency to digest that shit. And I was a very proud, very stubborn child. And so like, that's why I say, like, going back to the therapy thing, I don't think I realized I might have an issue.
Right.
Like, that's just how I knew how to live life until my early 20s. So.
And I feel like when you're in your early 20s, that's when you probably start asking yourself those deeper questions, like, is the shit that I grew up with, should I bring it with me?
Right.
And then you either ignore it like I did, or you let it go. So over time, sometimes you can do that with therapy, or you can just live life and figure out what parts you want to leave behind, what parts you want to take with you. And that's what I feel like I did to a point. And I think everybody should have a relationship with therapy, and I've never been in therapy. So
Absolutely. There's nothing like an unbiased third party to kind of reflect parts of yourself back to you that maybe you might want to think about a little bit differently. I also wanted to add here that in my my government job, I work with children, and children are so much more self-aware, like than I was when I was a kid. Like, I'm talking to 9-year-olds that are just like, I'm depressed, and I'm like, you have a word for that? That's great. They have the vocabulary for it. By and large, is what I'm seeing.
And that was more so, I think. Like, I don't want to like talk like I was just so emotionally woke when I was a child, but I was like aware of that, like depression being a thing and it being in my family. But I think it was because like my mom came from a place where that was in her family, and she comes from a very, very, very large family, 11 kids, and I'm her only child, and she wanted to make me know that it's okay and you can be comfortable to talk about these things with me, because I've been through some of them. So if you need to chat with me or chat with this person or whatever. And I mean, and also if you haven't been to therapy, it's all right, because like talking to people just in general, I think also does it. Like this is like a type of therapy for me. Like this gets shit off my chest that I probably wouldn't talk about in therapy. It brings up random shit that we unconsciously, like I wasn't thinking about going prior into, this whole thing. So I think just talking just in general can take a lot off your chest,
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you said your mom was a social worker, right?
She was a social worker.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she probably had a different level of awareness. I mean, if you're doing training in social work, it's pretty, to get to my licensure level, it takes a lot. So I don't know if she was she was the highest licensure level. Well,
and she was like, what would you call it? Grandmothered in.
Oh, that's great.
Because this is like 40 years ago. So like early 80s. So like, and when she retired, the people that were coming in to get her job, like starting out, they did 6 years of schooling, and she didn't need any schooling going into her job. Like she just entered in, and that's what that field was because she was a financial, like, social worker specifically it's such a large spectrum of all the different aspects that you can work with humans. But yeah, that's what she was doing. And it was just like, she just got in as a job Like she didn't go to college. That's what she did, was get into that. So yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that through this conversation has made me been thinking about too, like you were saying earlier, like how our parents, they were young when they had us, and then even thinking about like where I was at when I was 21, and like imagining my mom being 21 and just being like, fuck, LOL, mom, you didn't know what the fuck you were doing, but she did her fucking best.
When you ended up great, like
it's all situational. But one of the things like I said earlier about like what I took with me when I'm letting go is specifically with my watching my mom become who she is now as being a grandmother and having raised 3 kids, and now she's becoming this person as being like, all right, she had empty nest syndrome for a little bit, but now she's got her grandkids and everything. But watching her. And then watching my nieces and nephews, and then seeing some of the same patterns of behavior that were kind of, like you said, bestowed onto me as a kid, and then me as I'm around as often as I can be, but I try and do gentle
nudges to change it a little bit.
Yeah, like because I'm try to be really respectful, being like, I'm not always around, so I'm not gonna be like let Uncle Darien walk into this space that he isn't only around and be like, let me interject my thoughts and feelings and how you're talking to these kids. I'm like, no, I try and do that by working with the kids directly. So it's like, so when I'm like messing like some with my little my nephew and my niece, when I'm talking with them, I don't get worked up if they catch an attitude really quick, because the other people, my family, are kind of like, what'd you say to me? Like, how? Fix your tone. No. I'm like, all right, man. You're talking a little crazy right now. I hear you saying, what's up? Because clearly you're kind of upset about something.
You're also a very patient person, though, Darien.
You are,
because you can deal with a lot of bullshit from a lot of people.
Yes, you can.
And like I know that because I'm one of your best friends. So like I know that about you. So like, and you're great with my kid. You're great with Cody's kid. Like you are good, not just with kids, but like just with people in general. You are very patient. So I think with talking to kids,
I think patience is a big part of it, but then also recognizing the things that recognizing the behaviors and the social interpersonal norms that were just bestowed on us, like the whole, like, if they're the adult, you listen to everything they say, you don't ever get the question in. So then I was like, nah. I think it's like, I straight up dead ass told my niece, I was like, adults don't know what the fuck they're doing at the time. and while you should respect your authority figures, like, there's a way for you to communicate, like, how you are not feeling the way that they're talking to you or whatever. No. So it's all those little things that just try to do like a gentle nudge and a correction to it. Even with my mom, I'm like, hey mom, you tried doing this. She's always like, that does seem like that'd be like less drama that way. I was like, yeah, if you try it that way, I guarantee you. Well, not only are you going to teach somebody how to treat you, but you will have done everything. You will have done the one thing that would be like, I tried to course correct and you didn't fucking do it, and now I get to write you off. So go fuck yourself. And then it's like tight. Oh god, and you did that in two steps. You did that in 2 steps. You did it in 2 steps instead of this fucking roundabout one. What were you about to say, Sam?
Well, I was just gonna add to what you were saying. I think just as we grow as humans, and I'm not going to speak for the whole human race, but
no, please.
But we learn how to. Or we're becoming more aware about how we are affecting people, how our parents affected us, how you can affect your nieces and nephews or your siblings when you were growing up. Like, I just think as humans, we're gaining more of an understanding of how we communicate and affect each other in our lives. But, I mean, some people probably aren't very aware either. I feel like, in general, we are.
I think it's healthy, because I also believe you should do your best to stay in the moment. But there's always a but. But you should also be aware of like what you say and what you do can have an effect.
Yep.
And while it's not being like so in your head that you're ineffectual, you don't do anything. But it's also being like, if I say this, how could they take it? But you don't allow yourself to go down the fucking rabbit hole. You just kind of like the way that it speaks to somebody, what I say to them could have this response. You should think about what the fuck you're gonna say. Yep. You should think about what you're intending, and then do your best to guide that path forward. And then if for some reason you still fuck up, then you
Well,
then
and
I don't know.
And a response is always valid. Like your first response to, that is always kind of valid because it's your first feeling going into it, even if it's not 100% the most appropriate or whatever.
Can I push back on that a little bit?
I think, yeah, of course you can.
I think because I think like you can. Oops. I don't think you are your thoughts. I think that you are what your secondary thought is usually. So it's like you have your first thought just because if you say the first thing that comes to your fucking mind, that's when you get in fucking trouble. Am I right?
I'm just saying I think it's valid because your emotions brought that that's the first thing you felt going or like a reaction to something someone was saying.
Reaction versus response.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right, cool. In that context, then
that's
sure.
what I'm saying.
I'm about to say if it's the first thing you feel, you're like I'm gonna say that. It's like bitch. It's like wow. Because if I reacted to every last one of my first feelings and then to think that was valid, I'm like that wasn't. I felt indignant about things that I have no business being indignant about.
Right.
Well, and also there's the consideration that everybody's receiving what you're giving them through their own lens of experience. So you can only do that so much. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So don't think too hard about it.
Yeah. Just be
try to be respectful, but
some people, said what I said.
I mean, people who are more direct might think that's rude. Being like, if you're trying to like, I don't know, soften the blow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think when you're trying to soften the blow, it's like that's where the asides come in. That's when the nuance comes in. Yep. It's like I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying this because it needs to be fucking said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also in what context and like what scenario are you speaking to me about this in this way and sure. in this tone and but all of those things are factors as well.
For sure, but I think that's the nebulous part of it. But I think just on a if we're not talking about like the existential emotional things, it's like I'm telling you this thing because it needs to be said, and it would be a disservice for me not to say this to you.
right
And I think that and I think that I'm not trying to hurt you, and if you know I'm not trying to hurt you, then hopefully you'll take these words as what they are, the words that I need to say to you, and then some shit. But I'd like to take one quick break because I would like for us to actually answer the questions for today's episode. I actually just realized that cashew milk is a great substitute for things you want to be creamy but aren't.
Cashew milk? Yeah. It's my fucking favorite. Like you had mentioned almond milk earlier, and cashew milk is my jam.
I like almond milk for like cereals and everything else, but I also like to use. I didn't know that cashew milk was like a good substitute for like you want like something creamy for like a sauce or whatever. Had no idea. So
and oat milk's my favorite to just drink like straight up. Like if you were to, I've never been a person to just like pour a glass of milk and like drink it. But if I were to do like a substitute milk, it'd be an oat milk.
It's
like
the best in lattes too, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. We only get
coffee snob.
We only get cow milk because for like our kid and like Brooke and I. She got one of those fucking fancy milk makers that you like put cashews into and it grinds
like
it up
bag.
And then and it like we can make our own oat milk, cashew milk, almond milk, all that shit.
Nice.
I don't know. We could probably make milk out of anything. You can milk just about anybody. So.
Oh, great. On that note.
Are we gonna start talking about my dick now?
Yeah.
JK.
She's got one. So. I think that was the only question like preemptively that she had asked me going into booking the
first couple episodes were about dicks.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm ever on this,
Norine, tell us about your dick.
Is it a big, veiny, triumphant bastard?
Triumphant.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I don't know how to answer that question because I feel like it needs to be a euphemism for something, and I refuse to talk about certain. Yeah,
in this case, we're being very direct.
Or erect.
Fuck.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
I hate that. Norine, you're the shit. Hell yeah. So one of the things I went, we went over it a little bit, but I guess I wanted to be a little more direct about what the point of this, what the overall topic of this conversation was supposed to be about. Like, what didn't your parents get about you when you were growing up? We talked a little about me, like my family being like, just being like outright ignoring that. I wanted to keep it simple and buying me these the basketball shoot. And again, always grateful, but also being the whole time being like, I'm like, this is literally like it could be
the
so
opposite
simple. Yeah, it's the exact opposite of
because
what
you wanted to blend into the background and not be noticed.
Yeah,
right?
a little bit. Yeah, that shit. And then
buy you a braid ass.
No,
stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, like there was no telling about. I was like, my sister's dad, he fucking bought me a powder for Easter. He bought me like a powder blue South Pole, fucking like basically a jumpsuit. And it was just bright and gaudy. And I was like, this is not what I want.
Yep.
Even kind of. And
Yep.
I know y'all are just doing your fucking best right now, but this is the worst.
Mine was always music of like like how like my dad he influenced like the beginning of my musical taste, like all classic rock and blues music from the 60s and 70s. But then like anything after that, like buying me something, like the closest to my musical taste was I think my dad got me Nirvana, Nevermind. And that's about it for like within my realm of like the music that I was getting into after that. Cause you're into your parents' stuff and then you begin to discover your own stuff. Yeah. And I don't know if either one of my parents really ever got that. My mom would like get into it once I got into it, I think, you know, but I don't think she was discovering any of that for me.
Yeah, no, it was my mom. She didn't care about the music I was listening to, so I was definitely walking around with topical fucking Limp Bizkit's fucking. Like, I'm in 6th grade and I have fucking hot chocolate starfish and hot dog flavored water and shit, like all that shit. But then I was also like listening to like 7th, 8th grade System of a Down, fucking Discovery, fucking Daft Punk. I was going into these different lanes musically. I could listen to whatever the fuck I want,
right?
But God forbid, I just wore a fucking plain T-shirt,
right,
or some shit, and that was those other little parts, and then just. I don't know, but here this is also like making me realize like all these other ways my mom definitely was like, no, go off. Was like, oh, you want to go to a little party? Go to a little party. Are you gonna go down the street to your little friend's house? So yeah, cool. Be home by 8.
Well, it was just so different because, you know, I had two polar opposite. I've mentioned that before. Two polar opposite homes that I was brought up in. So it was just like this person got this and this person got this. But like I was saying about golf, like. I always hated golf, but that's what my parents, or on that side, my dad wanted me to do because that's what he was into. And a lot of times with him, it was what he was into was the only thing he could really like, you know, like he doesn't know what other things to be like bringing up. So I get that, you know, like I now am bummed that I never got into like orchestra or band because I was always jealous of those kids. And like, I want my kid to take piano lessons so that she can fucking figure out how to play most any other instrument from knowing the scales at some point someday. Like I wish, like, yes, I'm a drummer, but I can't fucking tell you what note is here and here and here. I can play a bass lick or whatever on a bass guitar, but like that's something that like I was bummed that I spent so much time playing baseball, which I didn't hate it, but there's other things that I probably would have been a little bit more interested in. So like I think extracurricular activities was like a large part of like maybe where my parents were a little confused on like where I should go with it, I guess. I mean, I think the thing that I've held on to from my childhood that my dad did get me into was bowling, and he was like a huge bowler all through college. And you know me, I love bowling. You do. I don't do much else physical. So
if piano is like the best for understanding music theory too. So my undergrad is in music and psychology, so I had to go through all of the music theory classes and stuff. And there was this guy in the class, Sam Harvey Carlson, I'll just name him. He's a fucking fantastic guy. And I remember him being hungover in class, and he was just like a stellar pianist. And I play violin, so I only understood it like music theory through that lens, if that makes sense. And with piano, you have all the half steps, you have all the chords and stuff, and you can see the chords happening. And I just wasn't getting it. And he had a piano tattooed on his arm. And he's hungover and he smells like shit. And I'm looking confused at the board. So he like leans over to me. He's like, well, F sharp, you see, and A, and I'm like I'm gonna barf because he smells so bad. And I'm like, thanks, Sam, thanks, yeah, that's great. But he always got things better than I did, so I would highly support.
Well, and that's just always something I wished I got from my childhood. Yeah. You know, I was always jealous of those kids, even though. you know, like sometimes you make fun of them, and I think it was just out of jealousy, or at least I did. I was like, oh, well, look at that dweeb on the piano. It's because I wanted to do
most
that.
of the band kids at Apollo will lay you the fuck out, so I'm not worried about it. So,
so I was thinking about this question, and I'm gonna take it in hopefully not a weird direction, but I really don't care if you guys hear this from me. Hopefully it's not TMI. And you're not uncomfortable with
I'm comfortable with most anything.
Okay. Sexual expression as in my late teens and wanting to experience that. I didn't have sex, you know, as losing your virginity is a myth, but I didn't have sex with a man until I was 19 years old, and that was my first time. And so, I think there was a lot instilled in me from a very young age, because my mom's side, very traditional, and my dad's side, very quiet, like very easygoing, but very quiet. They like to party. My mom's side, very traditional, very formal. Yep. And there was a stigma around being a whore. And that was something that was kind of squashed in me. And people, you know, waited until marriage and stuff like that. So that whole vibe I was on until I probably rebelled and started shopping at Ragstock. And then I was, you know, and then that kind of, I got my first like official boyfriend, and then it, you know, it was over from there. But that was something that I look back on, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. Yeah, I feel like, you know, if I mean, I'm going to do parenting a lot differently if I ever have a child.
Yeah.
Than them. But, you know, and I won't do it perfectly, but I feel like sexual expression is such an important part of somebody's self-discovery. You know, discovering, you know, even gender identity, like who you're attracted to. And even if they don't identify as any specific gender, that's okay. Yeah. And I mean, our whole world is different now. Like growing up, we didn't have the internet so much and stuff. So I think that now that we know how people can live their lives, and we know that there are all these avenues. And when I say we, I don't mean like the collective we. I mean, like probably people just in my circles, because I don't want to speak for everybody. But we know now what our lives can look like. We feel like we have a lot more options. Yeah.
It's also we're more open to speak about sex as well. Yeah. I feel like that was like one of those taboo subjects for some households where it was just like how am I supposed to talk to my kid about this? Oh, I'm just going to avoid the conversation.
Yeah. That's what my mom would do.
Yeah, and
she's like, I don't want to hear about you and him having sex. It's not into my like mid-20s. Yeah.
And all, I wouldn't say that my mom was like this, but like some family members were like, if you start talking about any of that, then they'd be like looking at you like, what are you doing? Like why would you? What are you talking about that for? Like, you got something you want to say? And it's like, if I brought this up and if the first thing you're gonna do is be fucking hostile about it, then I can't trust you. I'm not gonna hear anything. So bye.
Now I'm just not supposed to talk about it. So,
yeah.
Right.
No, yeah. I appreciate that.
People's reactions do make you like to what you have to say or express, and like sometimes their reaction can make you afraid to talk about it. You know,
that's what I always try to tell like the little kids in my family. It's like anything happens, like just open, and even the adults. I'm like, listen, if you react like negatively, you have to like tell my family, is like, you have to let these kids know that they can come to you for anything. And the first thing they do, they open up to you, fucking start yelling at them. Sorry, I thought something happens about the if you start yelling at them, then they're gonna fucking they're gonna close down, and they're not gonna want to open up. And then all of a sudden we're all wondering like, why doesn't so and so shares? Because they feel like as soon as they say anything, as soon as they open their little chest up, y'all gonna fucking start taking pot shots at them, and no one wants that.
And to that point, another thing that I realized later on is that I collected older women friends because they would talk to me about that stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I did in my like late teens, early 20s. Is I had a lot of older women friends that were in like their, now that I think back on it, I'm like, what? That's kind of weird.
What were you doing?
Early 30s.
Yeah.
Early to mid 30s. So yeah.
Well, and I mean, I mean, maybe it's weird to think about that now, like hanging out with someone of that age, but like, it's good that you did have that, like to learn about that.
Yeah,
so it's
I was
like
searching for it.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Anything you kind of search for, you're gonna find, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, I feel you.
Energetically. No, I got really woo woo on you. For a second.
But yeah, it's good to have those mentors, especially if they kind of they respect like where you're at as like you're a Ute.
They normalize things.
They normalize it.
Yeah. And it was kind of just a taboo thing to talk about, like you were kind of saying.
Well, we all had some friction in different ways.
Well, and there's so many different like weird subjects to talk about with your parents. You know, like depression. Some parents don't want to hear about your feelings, or it's weird to hear about your feelings, or sex, or this or that. I mean, it's
or just trying to express yourself within them, being like, no.
Every household is different.
Every household, every parent is different, and I think that's really important that we all realize that. But
and they are humans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they all fuck up.
Yep.
No matter what.
That's true.
But we made it. Look at us.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I think
that was the thing?
Well, there are other parts, but everyone kind of like answered those questions. And answered the follow-up stuff indirectly. So
okay.
Good.
I don't really feel a need to.
We made it.
We did. We made it to the very end. We made it in under 2 hours. Shorter than birds. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that was a long episode. He's a very interesting person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that
Bird's
episode.
great. Bird's great.
Yeah, he is.
He's really funny.
He became my buddy.
He's a good man. Anyway, Norine.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you.
I thought you were gonna finish it up with
that's right.
A lightning round vegan quiz.
All right. So, Norine.
Yeah.
Chicken Parmesan isn't vegan, correct?
Is not.
All right. Tight. How long does it take for you to get your vegan powers?
Oh shit. 2 months.
Nice. Do you have any formal training in the vegan arts?
Yes.
Okay. You're deep in the vegan community in Minneapolis. What are the current state of affairs?
Oh, okay. Okay, so like with every other scene around here, and we just did a fucking episode about it, there's drama.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. Like, okay, so my feminism includes veganism, so like anti-oppression across all intersections, right? There are, and a lot of people agree with that. Like they're coming to that. That animals should not be killed for food. They should not be tortured for food. So, we did an episode on intersectional this last time around where we had the Duke. Her name's Megan Duke, and she's been in the vegan community here for a very, very long time. She helped us like suss out some bullshit that's going on with some vegan organizations where like their feminism doesn't only go so far.
Yep.
Like they protect the animals, but they're kind of being dicks to people of color or what have you. Yeah, so there's that. Or women. Like there's a lot of male business owners that are just like shitty to women.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would say that.
Okay.
Lots of drama.
I wanted to ask, do vegans ever have like exclusive like warehouse rave dance parties together, like that you have to get a text from somebody like, hey, here's the door code, talk to this guy and he'll get you in, and then you gotta like show him your vegan card or something?
Dude, that would be, I know that's never happened, but that would probably be the lamest dance party ever, just knowing the community out here.
Yeah.
And I say that lovingly. It's just these people, like, there's few and far between beer drinking, like tequila shotting vegans like me. Like I love my tequila, I love my beer.
I'm telling you now, Norine can put it down. Norine is the life and the afterlife of the party. You think the party's done? It's like, nah, like
tequila shots.
And we're gonna resuscitate it. Y'all, you want to bed? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be the one laying sleeping on the floor.
Oh,
Damn.
no.
Do you have anything to promote? I think we're coming to a close, right, Dee?
Well, I guess if people are interested, I do a podcast called Intersectional with Ashley, and she is the program director for Animal Rights Coalition down in South Minneapolis. So she kind of covers all the vegan stuff. She does actual advocacy and like bearing witness. So she goes to factory farms and helps do footage and things like that, and bearing witness in protests and crap. So she's kind of that realm. I'm more of the like cultural intersectional feminism realm, but we're both that. It's a really good podcast. We have really great guests, and we have a lot of really great conversations. And the point of that podcast is not to like be an echo chamber. So we're trying to invite all voices, and I'd love to have you two on next time.
would love to.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
because we haven't had men on our podcast yet.
Ever?
Hey, you want us on it?
We'll be the first. We'll be the first two dudes on there.
Absolutely,
Hell yeah.
I fucking want. It's gonna be great.
Cool.
All right. Well,
I would love that.
You let us know when we're there.
Yeah, but we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Right.
So, and it's very like ground up, so don't expect like really nice sound things like this.
We'll put the
Sound
links.
technology.
We'll put all the links in the show notes and make sure people hear about it. So.
Yeah, we're listening a minute. What days do y'all release?
So it's like monthly, and we don't really have like a schedule.
Okay.
We're pretty unorganized when it comes to that.
But there was a new episode out recently.
Yes. Yeah, it dropped actually today.
Hell yeah. Well, fuck yeah. So. Well, again, Norine, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me,
this
guys.
has been great.
Yeah, super fan.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
I'm jazzed to be here, so thank you.
Fuck yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. If you want to submit any questions or topics, head to bit.ly/FFW. Grab that. Fuck you. For more
she gets to take over the interruptions this time.
For more existential humor, remember to rate and subscribe to Food for Worms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your funky ass podcasts, Norine. You could be anywhere and you choose to be here, and we appreciate you for joining us. As always, check on your strong friends, tell your people you love them, and remember that you can't take any of this with you, so don't be a fucking dick. This has been Food for Worms. Sarah, Norine, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We love you.
I love
you too.
I love you, D.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for that.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Food for Worms podcast is a Kiss Kiss Gang Gang production.
It is recorded and mixed by Sam Sarver.
Executive producers are Darien, Washington, and Samuel David Sarver.
I don't know why we're talking like this. Theme music is by Muffins by Dresden, the Flamingo.
Find us wherever you get your podcasts and hit us up at foodforwormspodcast@gmail.com
for submissions and inquiries.
Or stupid questions.
Yeah, we're getting our lunch money back from our school bullies.
What?